Welcome back. You're listening to CentralCoastRadio.com. I'm your host, Kyle, and I'd like to talk a little bit about a movie called The Eight Mountains, which it's part of the St. Ali Italian Film Festival, which is currently going on in Melbourne. And yeah, well, it's about a friendship, and well, friendship is it's something that's important to each and every one of us, and uh, of course, even of even greater importance are the best friends that we make as children. And I think that there's kind of this bond that is between childhood friends that whether you go near or far, it can never really be severed. And that's what this movie is really about. Such a friendship is formed in the mid 80s when young Pietro's family rent a summer vacation house in Grana, up in the Italian Alps. And he meets Bruno, a local child of the similar age, and the two hit it off immediately. Now, Pietro's father, Giovanni, played by Filippo Timmy, grows to love Bruno as if he was one of his own, and the three embark on mountaineering expeditions together, and they really start bonding as this kind of extended family. But yeah, life can be cruel and throws curveballs at you, and as Pietro ages, he resists the call of that mountain, and he prefers to roam the world, and he actually grows quite distant from not only his friend Bruno but also his father as well. Now, well over a decade later, the now full grown in his 30s adult Pietro, now played by Luca Marinelli, he receives word that his father has passed away. Now, Pietro returns to Grana and he reunites with Bruno, now played by Alessandro Borghi, and Bruno has never left uh, Grana. And the two actually plan to complete Pietro's father's last wish, which is to build a cabin in the Alps. Now, their friendship is rekindled, and Pietro learns that in many ways Bruno became something of a surrogate father, a surrogate son to Giovanni in Pietro's absence. And yeah, they really did start to form a bond together, which Pietro just completely missed out on. And despite the connection that Pietro and Bruno still have, and they start to form even a closer bond now than ever before, they still are very different men. And over the years, after they've even built this house together, over the years, the complexities of life kind of force them apart as much as their friendship brings them together. Now, this movie is actually based on an award-winning novel by Paolo Cognetti, and it's written and directed by creative and life partners Felix van Groningen and Charlotte van der Mesch. I apologize if I got any of the pronunciation of that wrong. But this creative duo, they're actually a Belgian-born couple, and they learned Italian to better equip themselves for filming this for making this movie. And as I said, this movie is now chosen for a special presentation at the 2023 St. Ali Italian Film Festival. And the two, yeah, they've really created this kind of epic tale of friendship and self-discovery. The Eight Mountains itself refers to a Buddhist concept that the world is comprised of these eight mountains and eight seas, and they surround a ninth mountain called Sumeru, which is the tallest of them all. And the philosophical question at play here is who learns more, the people that travel to all eight surrounding mountains or those who reach the peak of Sumeru. And this film, it tackles various themes through its story and its characters. Chief among them, of course, is the power of friendship and the weight that it can have on shaping our lives. Fatherhood is also looked upon from various angles. Bruno, as I said, seems to connect more with his surrogate father than he did with his own, while Pietro rejects his father's love early on in his life and spends the rest of the film regretting it. Pretty much as he grew older, he starts to learn more about his father and just understanding him now as an adult in ways that he never quite could grasp as a child. But also the of of real importance in this movie is just the boundless wonder of nature. It's a real important element of the story. The filmmakers began work on this movie during the pandemic, and so of course people were all over the world or trapped inside. So throughout the movie we scale these giant mountains in Italy as well as the Himalayas in Nepal, and yeah, just marveling at the sheer beauty of these ancient behemoths. And all of this is really shot really well by cinematographer Ruben Impens, who's a frequent collaborator with the two directors. And this movie, it actually maintains a 4:3 kind of square aspect ratio, which at first I found odd. It's got that. It isn't in widescreen. It's in that 4:3 kind of square old style ratio, kind of like Godland was recently. And when I was watched the movie, I thought, okay, for how much of this movie is set out in these vast open spaces with these mountains and beautiful backdrops, you would expect the movie to be filmed in widescreen to fully take advantage of it. But I don't think it's interesting because um, a lot of focus is actually put on height of the screen rather than the width. So throughout the story, as Pietro and Bruno grow taller, they reach higher peaks of these mountains, and yeah, well, as they grow taller, they also reach higher up in the mountains and grow up and up and up. And yeah, I think it was I think it was a fascinating experiment, which yeah, it would have been just so tempting to simply shoot these amazing views in a traditional widescreen format. But yeah, I think that the actual focus more on height made yeah, kind of at no point do the locations not look stunning, but yeah, they kind of it was interesting seeing them filmed in a different way than what you might be used to in I say regular epic movies. Uh, but the relationship between Pietro and Bruno is platonic, but it's handled very much like a love story. Like they've got this long-lasting bond, and they have these summer reunions, which they bring comfort, but also act as kind of a mirror with which they judge their own lives. Both of the principal characters, they both have this lust for nature, but and for the great outdoors, but they kind of pursue this in a very different way. Pietro, he's a wanderer, like he's never satisfied to put down roots or be in one place, while Bruno feels a kinship with his mountaineering ancestors, kind of happy to climb the same mountain forever. So Pietro is really more of an eight mountains kind of wanderer, and Bruno is the one that's climbing Mount Sumeru, to go with the title of the film. The dynamic between the two plays out really well via the real world friendship, which is actually shared by the two lead actors, Marinelli and Borghi. And it always feels like there's something driving this wedge between them, but seeing them together on screen just feels right. Like their friendship really does come through on screen. The Eight Mountains It's a visually and emotionally stunning film from I'm going to mess up these names again, from Grohagen and Vandermish. Uh, it can feel its length at times, but if anything, I think that just adds to the film's intentionally epic story. It's a 4 decade long tale, which perfectly blends the bittersweet feeling of vast nature with the nostalgia of a lifelong friendship. I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5. I really did enjoy it. And yeah, get out, check out movies at the St. Ali Italian Film Festival that you're playing now. I'm sure you can find information for that online. You're listening to CentralCoastRadio.com, and we'll be back right after this.